Okay, so we're in the trunk of my 200SX. I just popped this guy up in here to see if I could use it to solder. My wires are dangling down here. There's two of them, and there's a plug. I actually went to the junkyard and picked up a couple extra plugs and extra wire. So I'm going to lengthen it, and then I'm going to just try to wrap it and zip tie it up into place. This is supposed to keep your speakers from getting hit inside the trunk, but one time I put too much shit in here and it bounced up and pulled those wires right out of the back of the plug. So I tried to resolder them into the plug and whatnot, and it was too difficult. So I just went out and I picked up, see that little orange end there? Well, it's not orange, it's brown. And it clips into that little white bit up there. And so you just go and find the matching one. And I found it in a couple different models of the Nissans, all had the same plugs. So I went and grabbed that from the junkyard. And today we'll be soldering in the extra length and the new plug. We'll see how that goes. Got my new plug. Stripped, rock and rolling. These were the tubes that came when I cut them. So I cut them a little shorter, and I slipped them on this side. So I'm going to slip them over where they're two soldered together. If you look here, kind of like a orange and then a black with a pink stripe, and that designates the driver's side versus the passenger side lines, I assume. And basically I just gotta hit this up with a little flux on both sides and then resolder this in. I've extended it and I've got a new clip end. So that's what I'll be doing. It's kind of hard to tell, but right in here, see that little clip? This guy is just for soldering and whatnot. I was able to hook them up into there, grab one end, and I'm going to do one at a time, solder, 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 and then plug it back in. Alright, that's a little better. So basically, you use the alligator clip, and I just did a fat hunk of solder, because I actually had already put solder on the other side, so I couldn't split the end open. So this is all together now, just letting it cool while clamped and not moving. I'm going to tape this, then I'm going to slide the cover like I got on this one. See, slide the cover up and over the area that I taped, and I'll tape that in position too. So first tape this one, then I actually got to make this lead a little bit longer, but I'm going to tape us all together before I move on to doing that one, just in case, to make sure that this is truly together. And I mean, that's more solder than you need, but what happened was I had already soldered the other side, so I couldn't open it up and push them together like you usually should. So I just had to lay it on top of one another and hope for the best. But she's together. Now it's to the next one. Alright, one down, one to go. That little hunk you see on there, that's just flux. I actually took the flux and I wrapped it around the outside because mine got a little waxy. So I'm going to heat that and then tap it with this with the core of rosin and leaded, blah blah blah. Not great for you, I'm sure. But basically, because I don't have the solder tip on it right now, so I heat this up slightly before I start, and I touch the flame to the wires themselves, and then I immediately start trying to flux it when I've got the fire going. And really, you should do it with a soldering tip. I happen to be using a cigar lighter. You know, do what you gotta do. But this works well because it's got a locking function on it, so I can lock it on. And just be directional, be careful, try not to melt anything. That's important, you know how that goes. So one down, I wrapped it one in electrical tape. Yeah, not my favorite job there, but it's really hard to do that in this area and pull it tight, and I didn't want to undo the soldering job I just did. I'm going to solder up the second one, and then I'll just plug it in and see what happens. Alrighty, so I just moved those two covers up and over and to the point, and it's a little bit longer, so I'm gonna zip tie it up to this guy, make sure that it's up and out of the way, plugged in. That's what the other side looks like. Not super helpful to you. So just pushes and clips in. I can replace this one. I got 2 of them just in case. And the wiring in this, see how it's gray right there? And this one is orange and black and pink. So when I was at the junkyard, I picked up 2 of them, right? So I've got an extra one of these. So if I ever damage that one, I got a clip and a replacement and I can extend it. And the color code matches. So gray, passenger side, black and orange, driver side. And pretty straightforward. Soldering is kind of one of those things that, like, everyone has their tips and tricks and blah. So, but really, whatever works, right? So I'm going to use that tube to cover my solder and make sure that they can't connect to one another, and zip tie it up in the spot on this bar. And then that solves this problem for today.